Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And yesterday we got the major Season 3 of Call of Duty Black Ops COD War announcement with many potential implications for what the competitive scene is going to look like going forward. Stage 3 we imagine will stay as it is, but Stage 4, Stage 5 and the World Championships probably looking very different indeed, and hopefully in a very positive manner. Intrigued to hear your thoughts on this stuff in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, a big thank you to Draftbuff for sponsoring today's video. Wanted to give a shout out to these guys for placing right at the top of the draft rail for the major. JSD0621 ends up taking down the victory by a very close margin indeed right at the top here. And this was the team Formal, Scump, Shotzzy, Awakening and Standy with OpTic Gaming as well. So very impressive stuff. 1 out of 6,135. So yeah, over 6,000 people in this draft rail right now. If you guys want to get involved, feel free to do so down in the pinned comment and description box below. All that type of good stuff. This is the team I put together for this week. So Dashy, Shotzzy, Temp, Kenny and Formal. Keep in mind that a lot of the new players are now available here. So Temp, of course, on to Paris. He's a, pretty good value for money, I think, given though, the potential standout potential that he does have. And they don't have the hardest ever bracket run, I believe, this week. And then also there's other players as well. So you've got Havoc right now coming in. You've got Hydra coming in. You've got Zaptius. You've got other players as well. They're all now available. Honestly, they're, pretty cheap. When players like Havoc come in, they're only worth 20 points. That could be worth a punt, even though I believe they play only one match this week up against the Minnesota Rokkr. So it might be a little bit difficult for him to put up a great performance. But if you want to get involved and beat my team, as I'm sure you guys aren't going to have too much issue doing, the link will be down below, all that type of good stuff. Let's dive into this then. So this comes out from Call of Duty yesterday, gets the intel on Season 3 here. This is the good stuff. So let's look at this in detail. The first thing, of course, that stands out that we talked about in yesterday's video, Standoff, 6 versus 6, it's back in action, baby. We've had Raid come back, we've got Express coming back. Standoff, it felt like it was only a matter of time. It is officially here in just a few days' time for the start of Season 3. In addition to that, though, there's also some other maps. There's a 6v6 map right here called Diesel. There's some other one as well that I'm not really going to try and pronounce, but these maps also potentially have their spot in competitive play. Who really knows? Apocalypse came in for Crossroads. Now, yeah, we talked about whether Apocalypse is actually so good or not just a few days ago. Standoff, I'm sure, will be coming in for something. Hardpoint's probably, I mean, honestly, Hardpoint and Standoff is so good, it'd be a crime if it wasn't played. And then Search and Destroy as well is phenomenal. Whether it works for Control, that is a different question, but certainly there's some other maps here which also could work. Sticks and Stones as well, one of my favourite game modes from back in Black Ops 2. That is coming back. It was in Black Ops 1 as well. I'm not sure they ever brought it back to Black Ops 3, maybe as some sort of limited time thing, but that is coming as a new multiplayer mode. And then on the other side, we've got some of the weapons that are being added. We're going to talk about this PPSH in quite some detail here in just a couple of minutes time, because a lot of the pros have been discussing it and saying, okay, wow, we would love to see the PPSH back in the meta going forward, just like it was back in World War II. But let's touch on Standoff real quick. Scump says, I mean, we just love to see that Standoff indeed coming in. Only the real ones know. The OpTic van is, if you guys have been around a while and seen the clip, I'm sure you guys remember. I'll probably play it on screen for you guys right at the end of the video. And as Gibby Skill says, it's getting more and more like it every single day. Black Ops 2 remastered, Standoff, Raid and Express, hopefully all in the CDL map pool. I mean, I'm sure the pros would be absolutely blasted to not put Standoff in for at least a couple of the game modes. And as Crim says, did I see an announcement about the best Call of Duty map of all time today? Unfortunately, Piccadilly Search and Destroy is not returning yet. I'm really sorry to break the news to you guys who are really hoping it would come back. But yeah, here it is. Standoff comes back. Hopefully it'll be in Stage 4, as I say, for Search, Hardpoint, maybe even Control, depending on where the points are. But yeah, Hardpoint's phenomenal on it. Search and Destroy is great. So many great things. I mean, this is one of my favourite clips if you guys haven't seen this one from way back in the day. Nice little nature 1v2. If you guys don't remember, this MMS site, it's kind of funny because, this type of stuff would be gentleman's agreemented immediately today. This MMS. If you guys weren't familiar with this attachment, I don't really think it's ever been in Call of Duty since, but within something like 25 meters, if someone was standing still behind a wall and you were aiming through the wall with it, then you could actually, you could see them through the wall with the MMS if they were just standing still there. So you could clear out bomb sites and it would just kind of pulse out every couple of seconds or so. And you can see actually Nature in that clip was using cold-blooded because then you don't get caught on it by other people. And therefore it creates some tactics okay, I want to use the cold-blooded, but therefore, okay, I'm not going to be able to use all the other perks I would want to because I'm using cold-blooded to make sure I don't get spotted in this corner on the MMS site that the other team might be using. So there were some tactics, there were some strategies. It was kind of fun to see, but nowadays they would just probably gentleman's agree with it immediately. And as you can see, Nature right here picks up one, gets the lovely little 1v2 on land with the crowd. Scump's getting hyped, Nature's getting hyped. This is Call of Duty at its finest, honestly. So many great moments way back in the day, and Standoff hopefully will deliver even more fantastic moments here in the CDL going forward for 2021. And as Austin says as well, 2 more maps coming, including Standoff. Hopefully they are all awesome, so we get a phenomenal map pool. It does seem like a lot of the shipped maps that came with the game initially are getting shipped off in favour of some of the new ones that are coming in remasters from Black Ops 2. Let's talk about this though. So as we said said right at the start, the PPSH also coming to Cold War. This has been a pretty legendary weapon in Call of Duty history, especially because way back in World War II, there were certain players very good with it indeed. Kenny really was the standout. The entire season of World War II, he was probably the best PPSH player in the game. I think, well, certainly you have to argue that either the best player in the game full stop, or certainly the best SMG player with the PPSH in hand. Very interesting really, because back in Advanced Warfare, he didn't necessarily use the SMG too much. He tended to like the BAL. Then into the more recent games, he's actually used the Marox to great effect in Black Ops 4, and now he's actually the main assault rifle for this Los Angeles Thieves squad. But a few years ago in World War II, he was talked about as being the best SMG player in the game with the PPSH in hand. Now if it's coming back, and a lot of the pros seem to be pretty well excited about the possibility of it coming back, and that might mean that they actually give it a go in competitive play, because we've seen something like the LC-10, some other weapons that come in, they usually don't bother with the DLC guns, and sometimes the DLC guns are too overpowered and they just don't bother using them anyway, and they're probably quite happy with the AK-74U meta as it is right now. But honestly, the AK-74U and the PPSH are relatively similar in terms of how they handle between what it was like in World War II and in this game as well with the 74U. So who knows? A lot of people seem to be happy about it. I do kind of feel bad for Kenny in a way, just I mean in the same way that I feel kind of bad for Sasha, the fact that he gets dropped and immediately LAN comes back. We've got Kenny saying right here, you know, now he's the main assault rifle, but all of a sudden, you know, you're a main AR, just go to the main AR spots. True, he can't use the PPSH anymore if it does come back, because he's now a main assault rifle. But other players pretty happy about it as well. Just thought I'd show you guys what the PPSH was like if you didn't watch World War II. This is a crazy, well, 1 versus 4 that Jerd got. I mean, this is the kind of stuff the PPSH could do. Absolutely melts this guy right here, then picks this guy off the bomb heady and finishes off the clutch in style with whatever this was called, the guide bomb, I think, or something like that. Comes down from the sky and takes out assault. This, of course, the World Championship winning Evil Geniuses squad. So, honestly, the PPSH was a really fun gun to use. It was, honestly, it was so good at that game. I think a lot of pros particularly enjoyed it. And what I enjoyed about it as well is it wasn't like the craziest easy gun to use in that game. Like, it had some recoil. At long range, you really had to be pretty good at controlling the recoil on the PPSH, especially on a map like Ardennes Forest, to pick someone off a heady all the way across the map. You have to be pretty good at controlling the recoil. And, well, that's something which we don't really seem to have anymore. Nowadays, the guns just seem way too easy to use. You can just beam someone all the way across the map without too much difficulty with the 74U. So who knows? If the PPSH is coming back, will the pros use it? A lot of the time, it seems like the pros use weapons that they, well, just enjoy. And something like the LC-10 is just, well, it's kind of strange. It doesn't sound very good. This type of stuff. The 74U, on the other hand, is, well, much more enjoyable, I think, to use. And therefore, the pros are like, right, well, let's do what we can to keep this in the meta. If the PPSH comes back and it is pretty enjoyable to use like it was back in the day, I can see a world in which the pros actually decide to give this one a go for the meta for, let's say, stage 4, stage 5, because, well, that's obviously a couple of months out still from the World Championship, so plenty of time to get used to potential meta changes that might come into play. As Looney says, down for a PPSH meta, he was pretty good with it back in World War II as well, certainly on that Rise Nation team. And Zuma, also one of the best PPSH players, certainly in the early half of that season, was considered probably the second best SMG, right up there with Kenny. PPSH is coming back. Zuma may indeed well be back in the building going forwards. Let's talk also about Control then, because we discussed a couple of days ago the fact that, alright, what's going on with Control? Why is it not being confirmed yet exactly what's going on with the overtime rules for Stage 3? They've practiced this. We saw a lot of pros saying that, okay, they weren't really too happy with this whole idea that you get 20 seconds per tick as opposed to just getting a minute per capture. And as Chrome points out right here in this article, this is what they have done. So they've changed it so that pretty much the only thing that has changed right here is that we now get the overtime rules being focused on objectives. So we now only still get the extra minute when we capture a full point like it happened before. And I do wonder whether there was a better compromise here, because 20 seconds per tick I do think was too much, because the fact that, well, you would often see on offense that there was so much time, like there'd be like 1 versus whatever, like 2 versus like 6 or something, and it would be the offensive team who's still like a minute 30 on the clock because they've got 1 point and then they've captured 2 ticks on the other one, and they're just sitting there waiting in their spawn, just playing TDM for about a minute and a half before they actually have any pressure to try and get onto the hard point, so onto the control point, right? So I think that was kind of frustrating. I do wonder if there could have been a way to do like 10-10-30 or 10-10-40 or something like that, where you only get a few seconds extra for the first couple of points you capture, and then for the last one, that's when you wrap it up to the whole minute. So maybe that could have improved it somewhat, but I think this is probably better just having it as it was, and some teams are actually finding out good ways to get offensive wins on than with this whole 20-second idea. However, the overtime stuff is way, way better now. This is going to be in the case case for Stage 3 and also in League play, as Matt Scott says here in just a second. Overtime will be based off ticks captured, not live. So no more camping in your spawn to try and get kills to make sure you get round 5 on the defense. It's actually now going to be ticks captured that decides the defense. So if you capture more ticks throughout the entire map, then you're going to get defense as opposed to your opposition. Now, if it's tied, I'm not really sure what happens. Maybe it goes to kills, maybe it goes to objective kills. I'm not really sure, but well, hopefully that won't be the case too often. But honestly, all things considered, it probably will be. And as Matt Scott says as well, we will be mirroring these rule changes in the CDL, Cold War, League play, all that type of good stuff. And as Octane says as well, we're slowly replacing every baseline Cold War map with DLC or old maps coming in. I don't really think there's anything too wrong about that. Thought this was cool as well that Octane mentions. If we were to make the ultimate best of 11 series to play, what map and mode combination has to be in it from previous years? I saw a lot of people talking about this and they were kind of doing it in the way that, okay, you get to choose one map and you get to choose one mode on that map. So, for example, comeback and you get outplayed. Okay, so, obviously comeback was only played for uplink, but yeah, comeback uplink is one. Then we get raid. Okay, what game mode do we choose on raid? Do we play raid hardpoint? Alright, okay, raid hardpoint in the series. Then what do we play? I think I would love to see Warhawk, Search and Destroy. I'll just mention a few that I particularly loved. I think Stronghold hardpoint from Black Ops 3 was phenomenal. I think in terms of Search and Destroy, you could even look at a map like Infection, Search and Destroy. Fringe, of course, has to be played for something. Fringe hardpoint would be fantastic. I mean, honestly, all the hardpoints are so good. I mean, you can even look at Capture the Flag. Standoff CTF, maybe from Black Ops 2, could be the game mode that comes back in for. London Docks hardpoint, probably from World War II, deserves a mention. I think that map's pretty underrated. Retaliation hardpoint, Retaliation, Search and Destroy from Infinite Warfare is also super underrated in my opinion. So tweet to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. What map mode combination would you guys love to bring back from previous titles? And speaking of previous titles, this comes out from Scump yesterday, understandably so. It is only right to bring this gem back today. This is the original OpTic van clip from way back in the day. This is incredible scenes on Standoff, Capture the Flag as it was, and well, I'll just have to roll this clip for you guys if you haven't seen it before. And tweet to hear your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube record. I know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well. And I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care. And I will see you next time.
Is Killa gonna get this one in? There's 2 players to beat from OpTic. Big timer on top street will get picked all up to Scumpy. Killa with protection. Scumpy shots going down. 7 seconds left.
The Karma for Big T.
Nate shot is there. Nate shot is there.
They got the return. No way. Big timer going huge at the end. No flak jacket from Killa. The car bomb explodes. They make the return, and OpTic Gaming take out Unite one more time, 2-0.